A man is at his best when he has a mission. And a mission can just be that sense of connection to something purposeful and important that's greater than himself, right? Why am I here? Some could think of it spiritually. For others, it's just utilitarian functional. Like, what is my purpose? A man who feels purposeless, unimportant, useless, anyone who's been with a boyfriend or a husband who has been unemployed may have seen a man go through the challenge of feeling useless. It is terrible for most men's self-worth. Men tend to have a lot of self-worth wrapped up in being performative. Not just who am I, but how am I doing? What am I doing? How am I performing, right? Thus, performance anxiety, these kind of things. So for a guy, though, being someone with a mission means that you're connected to something beyond your individual ego, right? So you're going to be less insecure. Because when you know that I was put here to be a voice for, like, for instance, what I'm doing in my life goes beyond some sort of selfish gratification for me. There are a lot of things I'm capable of doing, but this is the one that I'm meant to be doing, right? And once you have that sense, you're more unshakable. Also, as a man, it allows you to hold your terms more easily, right? You understand what's important and what isn't. You want a man who's connected to what matters to him, because that's the same quality he's going to show up with in committing to your marriage or to a family. Like, this is important. A man who has no sense of that, who's still searching for that, I haven't found myself, I don't know what matters, not really sure what my purpose is, I don't know what I'm here for, he's still a boy. He's in his process, right? And that's another thing to really note. Boys do develop into men if they go on the right path and have the right influences. But they can also wander for decades, right? And by the way, you, and I don't just mean you, but all of you listening, you are not going to raise a boy into a man, right? It's something that he has to do within himself and through his male relationships and mentorships, right? But it's a deep inner path that he is on, seeking that, right? So that mission, though, you know, I think when I do a presentation on this, the slide is like the fireman carrying the little kitten kind of thing. And there's everyone goes, oh, like there's something about it. And it's not just the uniform. It's here's a guy who's willing to put his life on the line for something that he thinks matters so much. Men in uniform, it's not just the uniform, because a guy wearing that costume at Halloween who really doesn't do any of that is never going to feel as attractive as the man who you know is really doing whatever that duty is. And the man in uniform is not necessarily service-oriented like police or military. It can be. But just that idea that the man has some sense of a duty to something larger than himself that's important to him makes him someone that's very clear on who he is. And that's something more stable and secure and trustworthy.
Well, and for women, speaking from the women's point of view, a man with a plan or a mission is also very sexy. It's very attractive to a woman.
That's right.
Because he's going to show up in the world in a way that's inspiring and that that women admire and respect. And what I've found too is if, you know, that respect goes out the window, if he loses his self-respect or she loses respect from him, then it tends to diminish those romantic attraction feelings dramatically as well.
Yeah. You can't give what you don't have. If you don't have self-respect, how are you going to give respect to people around you? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why these 5 M's are so important, right? If you're deluding yourself because you're in your savior thing, because of maybe you saw it in your parents or whatever, or because you so badly want love or whatever it is that you need to convince you, look, when we're thirsty enough, we'll drink dirty puddle water. And to get it down, we'll tell ourselves, oh, it's not that dirty. And so we'll do the same with men, love and this sort of thing, right? Like we'll diminish or be like, it's not so bad. But the truth is, if a guy isn't demonstrating these 5 M's, it's because he's still in his development. He's still a boy. Now, you also have to question, like, am I ready for someone who's fully in all of these, right? And as we kind of go through, you can check in with yourself. That's the flip side of this for your own checklist is, okay, have I had challenges handling a person like that? Like if a guy is very clear, like, this is what matters most, do I feel ignored? Do I feel like this is competing with me so looking into some of those, and everyone has their right match, right? For some people, it's not the person who's 90%, into his mission. It's like someone whose part of his mission overlaps with who you are, or with family, or building something.